Welcome back to another episode of Allowed to Ask, a First Rounds on Media production. Just because cuffing season is winding down doesn't mean the dating game stops. If you're still looking for something real and intentional, it's time to switch up how you match. First Rounds on Me makes you plan the date before the conversation even starts. That's right, no endless chatting, no ghosting, just real people who are serious about going on real dates. Download First Rounds on Me and use code A2A, capital A, number 2, capital A, I am literally a robot, for a free month of their subscription. We're so excited to be chatting with a long time friend. My mom and I have known him for how many years?
Since you're like 3 or 4.
20 plus years.
20 plus years. Caesar Palotta, thank you so much for being here. You're a stylist, so many other things, and we're going to hear all about it. But thank you so much for being here.
Of course. Thank you for having me, Janice. Thank you for having me, Dani.
Oh my God,
You're
course.
always welcome.
No,
I was so excited when I saw you. I texted Dani
I know.
right
So
away.
how did we get him here? You ran into him.
In Armonk.
Yes. Childhood Town, which we just mentioned
Weird.
that we love and don't go enough.
Love, don't go enough. And you were strolling a dog. My mom thought it was your child.
Right. I
Yes.
thought it was a baby. You were just unloading the baby out of the car in the carriage. And I was like, Caesar?
It's practice. You know, I need to get good at the carriage and breaking it down, throwing it in the trunk, because that's hopefully soon.
Yeah.
Are you going to put your child on a leash though and your dog still in a carriage? Or are we going to switch up the roles?
At Disney, maybe.
Yeah.
But, like, generally,
I don't
no
see you
leash.
as a Disney adult.
I'm such a Disney gay.
What?
Dani, I went to Disney 3 times this year.
What? In 2025? It's been like 3 months. Or no, in
Um,
2024.
Twice in 2025, once in 2024.
Wow.
I
California
don't think,
twice, Florida once.
I would like to go again. But
I
I think,
think
you're
you
scarred.
would literally hate it. You'd be sweating your dick off. You'd be so overstimulated.
I know, but
You
I
were
would
just sweating in a 260 sample sale. There's no way you could do Disney.
No, but I would. Is that? I remember there was a Bug's Life. It was like a.
That's still there.
Yeah, that I loved. I would
Yeah,
like
in
to
Animal
do,
Kingdom.
I would like to do that.
I could tour you through the whole park right now. Like
And
each
wait,
one. Too.
let's
It's
go.
And
great.
that's fuck that. That's the reason why I'm petrified of spiders, is because my mom used to drag me to a Bug's Life 4 times. And
Maybe like
one,
6.
Yeah, and she was addicted. And you'd feel the bugs. It's like 4D or something.
So you love Disney.
Well, I just like that one thing. I
Yeah.
definitely don't like rides.
And then they kind of like the seat moves behind
The
you and it
moves,
crawls
yeah.
on your seat.
Oh yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
he
know. I
knows.
wish I would have
know he
known that.
knows.
My friend Elise wanted to go this week with her daughter, but she couldn't get like a private guide, and it became too much. And her daughter has 3 kids, so they bailed
doing-
on
are
it.
you
I
doing
literally
the
thought
Disney
I could,
way?
Private
I could be
guide.
a private guide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
'Cause I'm
fuck
really
being a
good with kids,
stylist.
too.
You should be a Disney
Yeah.
a Disney adult tour guide.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Oh,
you know
I'm
how much
loving
they
this.
get?
A lot.
$900 a day.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh,
Yeah, because
good.
they're sweating.
I
they're
can get you a
overstimulated.
gig.
Okay.
Wait, this is settling a business meeting. I'm loving it.
Wow,
But
2 minutes and I have a new
literally,
job.
literally. I wanted to do like a major catch up with you because I know I've been saying I haven't seen you since high school, but it's been since Thanksgiving Eve
Yes.
night outing. But what is going on with you? What are you up to today in life? I know you're a stylist, but that's all I really know. And then we'll go more into us growing up together and all those good things.
Yes. So I am a husband, a stylist,
All the good
a
things.
dog and kitten, mom/dad.
Is your husband like want no part with the animals and you're fully the adult?
No, he wants both. We each do 50% of each role.
Okay, you're both mom and dad.
Yeah, we're both mom
Perfect.
and dad. We were also both bride and groom and bride and groom.
Oh, love.
Yeah.
Make it easy.
But yeah, I started my own styling company after working at Intermix. That was amazing. I got to work with a lot of friends and clients, and
R.I.P. Intermix.
Yeah.
I know
I'm sad.
I'm sad too.
everyone asked me that
It
too.
was a
but
great store.
It was great. Now I'm helping out at True Grace in Armonk, and I also work online with Bergdorf, Moda, and Net. More recently, I've been doing a lot of weddings because my clients have been getting married and friends. And that's something that's super difficult, but it's really special to help out on.
Why is it so difficult?
Brides set really high expectations. And
Bridezillas.
Yeah. And we have one day to do it, and it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's a lot of money that typically people maybe aren't spending on clothes. Like,
Wait, what do you mean you have one day to do it?
to have the day. Like if it goes wrong, it's not like,
Oh,
okay,
you're
let's do
styling
another
on
show.
the day.
Well, when I go there, I have to bustle the dresses and make sure
you
things
do
are going.
that.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
because
God.
it's mostly like my clients become my friends and my friends want to work with me.
Right.
Well, that's good to know. But
Yeah.
you also were a big help. I could say her name because she listens anyway. Melissa.
Yeah.
When girl Jordan was getting married, I think you
And I helped
their
Casey.
their Friday
Yes.
nights and their
Yes.
dresses.
Oh, I loved
and
their outfits. I
everything.
remember them.
Yeah.
Yes,
So good.
That silver dress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good. So good. Oh, that would like stress me out, your job, but like you're so good at it. Like I like online shop for fun, but if I do for other people, I'd be stressed out.
Well, you might need Caesar in your closet now because this is Dani's new thing. She has a lot of clothes. Trust me. I don't like anything I have.
Well, I feel like I shop so much and I'm at a point where I'm like, I don't know how to put it together because I have so much. And also my closet is a really weird shape. So I like my closet, when you open it, the rods go that way. So you like the clothes are like facing me, if that makes sense. So I can't see what I have.
Okay.
But this is a different podcast.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
I think we just need a consulting session together.
Yeah, we can definitely do that.
I want to
then we'll
go
go to
back.
Disney.
Yeah, then we'll go.
Yeah.
No, you might have to like drug me to go to Disney. I always say like if there's one thing I would be okay never doing again, it would be going on a roller coaster.
Okay.
What would yours be? One thing you were okay with never doing again?
Never doing again.
Feel free to chime in too.
I'm trying to think.
That's a
I
really
feel like
hard
yours
one.
would be like mine's like go to a water park, go on a roller coaster. Like would have no interest. You guys can let it marinate.
One thing I'd never do again.
Go to the gym.
No, I was thinking when I like tripped on mushrooms, I hated it, but that was a long
That's
time
fine. You
ago.
never want to do drugs again. You're fine never doing a drug
Yeah,
again.
there you go.
Mushrooms are great.
Mushrooms are great. Yeah.
But your mushrooms are different than my mushrooms are.
Yours are probably better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what I would never do again. I think I try everything twice to make
Oh,
sure.
I love that.
So there's nothing I really hated all that much.
Okay, that's a good
Yeah.
answer. You're a good egg. Okay, I want to go back to middle school, high school, and just like growing up in our town. Like one of the main things we talk about on this podcast is obviously like relationships and dating and relationships with your parents. And I'm sure you had some interesting conversations with your parents back in the day. So just for context too, Caesar and I grew up together. We were in resource together.
Yes.
Which resource was what's the nice way of putting it? Like the slower classes.
But it was kind of a gift.
It was
Yeah.
a gift.
It's extra help. It's one-on-one attention.
Yes.
I mean, we struggled with certain learning disabilities.
exactly.
And look at you guys now.
I'm
Yeah.
like, I had extra time and everyone was jealous. I swear.
It's thanks to resource, honestly.
Yeah.
The cool thing about it too was that it was a really small class. So I think that's why we got to know each other
Yeah.
in high school.
It truly is. And I used to always say, Caesar, you used to like steal my homework out of my backpack. And I'm like, why are you stealing my homework? Like I'm in resource with you. Like you should have been stealing the AP students' classwork.
Unfortunately, I wasn't in class with them until like senior year. So that
I remember so vividly.
I was being
you like,
resourcul. Like,
Yeah, remember you were like,
that's what I was doing.
Right, but it's really true though. Look at you guys. You're both savvy and you got grit.
I
So
remember
it works.
so clearly. I was like, why are you stealing my homework? I'm like literally a straight C student.
Honestly, I gave little time to school in the first 3 years of high school because I was working a lot. Like I worked at restaurants after school. I worked at the Fire Pit. I worked at Westchester
The Fire
Burger.
Pit.
Do you remember that's in Armonk where Amore is now?
Oh, I
started
kind of
working there when
remember.
I was like 14.
Oh my God. Wow. I don't remember that at all.
Child labor.
I know. Right when I got my working papers, I was like, I want a job because
That's
I didn't
wild
do
of you.
sports and I had free time. But then I didn't leave enough time for my homework. So I needed a resource for like one period during the day to do my homework before we had to go to math class.
I like looked forward to resource.
But you
I
guys
did.
figured it out.
was.
Me
We
too.
did figure it out. What was the teacher with the really curly
Mrs.
hair?
Frank.
Miss Frank.
Miss
And
Frank.
she loved
you. She loved you.
Yes. I don't know why though. I feel like I was probably nasty. in
Well,
those
it must be
classes.
like with all your tutors. They always love you and you're always a bitch.
something about that bitchy energy. It's like that book. Why do men love bitches? Why
I
do
never-
tutors like bitches?
I never got bitch from you, Dani.
I
thought
think I
you
was
were-
like actually a nice person. Okay, I actually want to know because my home friends and I always talk about this. Do you think like we were mean people, like mean girls?
the girls and specifically your friends were pretty nice to me, honestly.
Thank you.
I don't know. I think other girls, things get cattier. And I think that's why as a
Probably.
gay guy, you can kind of balance throughout friend groups.
Yeah.
Because we're not involved in the same drama, who's dating who's hooking up with who. And I think that's where girls struggle.
Yeah.
I didn't do so good with the guys in our school. It was pretty challenging for me.
Yeah. Let's
Like-
talk about it if you want.
I was definitely bullied. And then where there were things where I was split from the girls, like gym class, that was actually really difficult because
Oh my God, you're right. We literally
Are
were
you talking
split
middle
up.
school now?
this is high school.
High school.
Oh,
Yeah, and middle school too. But I remember like in the locker room, that was something like super confusing for me, being like,
And you had to change.
I don't feel comfortable changing next to these guys.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't know, I'm too young to know if I have like interests. You know, you're not even thinking about guys at that point, like in 5th grade, 6th grade. Maybe you are.
I probably was.
Not going to take your clothes off in front of them yet.
No.
And I had to, and that was like confusing. And then I got bullied because people knew I was gay. Like I've always.
But you didn't come out in high school.
But I didn't come out because it didn't feel like a safe space, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's also the time.
Was it because you knew you were gay and you like just haven't explored with a guy yet?
I mean, at the time, it wasn't even legal to marry a guy
right.
when we were younger. So why would I want to come out for something that seems like I'm not going to be able to have love and have a family? And that's something I really want.
No, right.
That's interesting.
So that was a confusing thing. Plus, there was one other gay kid in our grade.
I was going to say, was there any?
I'm trying to think.
I know who it is, but we don't need to say his name. But he came out.
No, there were a few others, but there was one that was not out, but
you
like
could say
me, a little
I'll
bit
cut
more
it out.
flamboyant. Well, there's a couple, and I can't like, because
no,
I don't know
fine.
if everyone's.
We'll say it later, but yeah.
But basically, why would you come out if you can't even date anyone in school? What would be the point? Just to be made fun of a little bit more?
It's also, especially if you knew at such a young age, it's like, it's different now coming out and you're in Manhattan or wherever you are and it's so much more accessible or dare I say accepted and more options. Where in high school, you're just set right to our grade. And there was probably a handful of people who either you kind of like had a feeling they were.
Did you hang out with them? Were you like a little pod or not necessarily?
I was in theater, so I made some friends in there.
Yeah.
I mean, I made a lot of friends in there.
You were so talented. Well, you are so talented.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I made some different friends that were gay, and that was great. But same thing, like not many people were out. And then when people did come out, they were bullied. So it was like, I didn't want to follow that path.
Right.
Also,
well, I'm sorry about that.
I have a little sister, and I was always afraid to come out because I didn't want to make it harder for her in high school. Because I saw one of our friends in our grade, Kennedy Frowley, being bullied because her brother was out.
That's not okay.
Like in science class, people were mean to Kennedy. And I was like, I don't want that for Sydney. No. Like I'm going to make school more difficult for
Kids
her.
Kids are so fucking mean.
Yeah.
Kids are mean. But, people bully people, I feel like, on things that they're unfamiliar with.
Yeah, that's so true.
And that is scary. So we all make mistakes. Everyone's grown. There's actually a couple people in Byram Hills who didn't say such nice things to me in high school that came back later in life to apologize to me.
It's so funny you say that. Like obviously different, but like I won't say his name, but there was a guy in high school who would just touch me in inappropriate ways in class. And he was like, you can kind of paint the picture, just like a big guy. Yeah. And this guy would just always just like put his finger on my butt, like in science class. And then years later, like when we were in college, we went to a pregame, whatever. And I saw him and he was in a really happy relationship. And he was like, just want to apologize for how I used to treat you and how handsy I was with you. And it was like, we never even kissed. And he was so out of pocket with me. And I was like, I so appreciate that. I'm very much over that. But every time I saw him for years later, which was 4 times in the past 15 years, he'd apologize. And I'm like, you're married now. We're good.
We're good.
We're good. But I'm glad you got those apologies.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever too late for anyone to apologize for anything.
No, I think it's nice.
I've done things that I've apologized for in high school, college. We're learning and we're
growing.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
What did you do about prom?
I wasn't allowed to bring a guy. So that was another reason.
Wait, what do you mean?
What do you mean you weren't allowed?
We're not allowed.
Who do you mean?
I bet you now you're allowed.
I don't know. I actually
have to be allowed.
I had a meeting with a couple people, the superintendent of Byram Hills and Miss Davies, my 3rd grade teacher. And I wanted to start a program to bring in some LGBTQ plus books into classrooms. And it was totally shut down. I had a meeting with them 2 years ago. And they said, we're going to get a lot of
2 years ago, to this day?
Yeah.
Or not when you were in...
No. And they said, we're going to get a lot of pushback from parents.
Even now?
Yes.
2 years from 2 years ago?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
That
is people in the dark ages?
That's so beyond fucked up.
I know.
And how do you know you weren't allowed when we were going to prom?
It was said to me. I think Connor had a boyfriend possibly, and he was in Sierra's grade, my older sister, and he wanted to bring him. Someone had a boyfriend and they weren't allowed. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to think about doing that.
Wait,
You could have gone with
Furious.
Caesar.
I brought Giuliano
Literally.
Lapriori.
I went with my boyfriend.
Oh, right.
Jamesy. Remember him?
Jamesy.
Yeah, love James.
Oh, and Juliana. I won't talk about her after. I loved her. She was such a sweet girl. But that is so insanely fucked up. And I guess like hearing that when we were in school, that like I guess it makes sense because it was a while ago. But like now, that's insane.
Yeah. And
I
I mean, being in Westchester now is pretty lucky. Some other areas in the country would be a lot harder.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're not there yet. I think we're still
That's
working.
so.
But we
it's-
should be there
We
now.
should be.
there.
I mean,
Yeah.
When did you come out? I don't even know.
I came out my sophomore year of college.
Oh,
Towards
you
the end of
like
sophomore year.
waited a bit.
Yeah.
but you knew you were gay.
The first time I ever hooked up with a guy was freshman year of college.
Will you bring your mic a little bit closer?
Yeah.
Did you hook
The
up with
first time
girls?
I ever-
The first.
Yes. Is this
Yeah.
good, Dani?
Oh,
A
so
little
you were
further
with
back.
A
girls
little
like
further back.
once in a blue moon in high
Ask it
school?
again. Sorry.
So were you with girls in high school?
Yes,
Yeah.
I remember at Glow Fest. We went
Yeah.
to like some neon party and
I
I,
think
saw
a
you everybody
thing-
making out.
I think a thing, and I'm not sure if it's other gay men, but it's something I experienced, was I sort of wanted to prove to myself that I wasn't gay.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, sure, I'll try with girls and see if that's something that could work for me. I had a lot of female friendships and I love women. I just was learning I wasn't feeling a connection and a spark that I was
Yeah.
looking for.
Yeah.
But I only felt comfortable in college once I'd left Armonk. I
Yeah.
actually went to school in Boca Raton, which we just talked about. My parents live there now.
Wait, where'd you go to school?
For my freshman year, FAU,
Okay.
Oh.
before
Yeah, you had to
transferring to NYU.
Yeah, so
And
I
then
thought you went to NYU in the city. Yeah.
I did. But when I was in Boca, I felt like this is a safe space for me to explore this. I'm out of college.
Yeah.
No one knows me yet.
Out of high school.
At a college.
Oh,
Out of high school,
Right.
in college. I could go on a date and not have to run into someone, you know.
Mhm.
Right.
I wasn't going to go to Fortina with a
No.
boyfriend.
Right.
No.
And also, if you think about it, there's also no gay bars in Westchester or the surrounding areas. There was one in White Plains before we were even, I think, 18, but it closed
Yeah.
a long time ago. So that was another thing that made it hard for me. Like, if I wanted to try to go out at 18, let's say, and explore that, I would have had to
Yeah.
go all the way into the city alone.
Right.
And then you'd get the questions from your parents. Where are you?
Yeah.
Why aren't you coming home?
We're doing the city alone.
Yeah.
But your parents probably kind of knew.
My parents kind of knew. There was a stage of like me lying a bit and saying I was going on a date with a girl or I was visiting a friend at college and
Yeah.
I was seeing a boyfriend at Yale, you know, and that was through the first 2 years of college. And then once I found a successful relationship and I was like, okay, I feel love. I'm ready to
Yeah.
come out. Then I started to come out to my family. And
Mhm.
that
what was
point
that
it just snowballed.
experience like?
It was really easy. It's actually really funny. I came out to some friends first,
Mhm.
and then I wanted to come out to my parents. So
Oh, interesting. Parents second.
yeah,
Practice with your friends.
practice with my friends. My friends kind of knew. Like I was living with Nicole Gravenice, and I brought in my boyfriend over maybe 8 times, and I'm like, he's just my friend. And then I'm
Yeah.
like, but we're going to see Ariana Grande together,
Yeah.
and then Selena Gomez, and it's like put the pieces together. Like
He's sleeping over.
he's sleeping over when you're not here. But yeah, Nicole was super sweet about it. I remember like when we had brunch together, the first thing she said was like, that's amazing. Let's get a drink. And
Yeah.
we just celebrated. And I realized instantly like the friendship didn't change. And I was sitting with my friend who knew this whole time. And that made the conversation with my family so much easier. Cause I'm like, it's going to go the same way. They know.
Right.
I talked to Sydney, my little sister. I got to Westchester. She was the first one back at my house. And I said, can we go on the trampoline and talk? Because that's something like we always did. Like
Yeah.
not necessarily the talk, but the going on the trampoline. But
Yeah.
so we laid down and like looked at the clouds for a bit. And I was like, I have something I want to tell you. And she said, I think I already know.
Ooh.
I know.
Yeah.
Ballsy of her.
So then I was like, you do? Okay, can you say it? Because that'd be easier. And she's like, I don't
Aw.
think I should say it. I think you should.
Yeah. Oh.
So then I said, Sydney, I'm gay. And she said, yeah, I know. And I was like, how did you know? And she said, I've been using your computer and reading your iMessages for 2 years. And then she mentioned the person's name that it was in my contact. I didn't even put it as their name because I didn't want anyone to see it. And she said like J smiley face and looks at me. And I just
Little
smiled and
nosy
laughed.
chick.
I know. Sydney like should have worked for the CSI, honestly. Obsessed with criminal
Did
minds
you
and
know
everything.
she was using your computer?
I knew she was using my computer. I didn't think she was reading my messages for 2 years.
Yeah.
Even though we were reading my older sister's messages on her computer for like 8 years. So I should
Got a
have
lot
thought.
going on.
I should have thought. And our passwords were pretty easy to guess.
Oh my God, she might be like a little scarred from the messages she's reading, maybe.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. But no, that felt really good. And
Yeah.
again, it was like Nicole and Sydney. So then I had the conversation with my mom and one of our close friends, my older sister. My dad was away with my uncle, so he called me. We talked.
And was he cool?
Yeah, my dad was really cool about it. He like took me for a car ride when he got home, asked me some questions.
Your dad's like macho man.
Yeah, I was going to
I
say,
know.
he's a real guy's guy.
Yeah. I think so. My dad's cousin passed away from HIV when he was in high school, and he was a
I'm so
really good
sorry.
friend of my dad's. That's not something I ever knew. And I wish my parents told me that because, look, I think at the time it would be challenging for anyone to accept that their child is gay. Like,
Yeah.
But were they gay or it could have been a bad blood transfusion
he was gay.
or something? Okay.
yeah, he was gay. Because
Good
he
clarification.
worked for my grandpa. They all knew he was gay.
Yeah.
But it could be many other things. You're right. Thanks, Janice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good way to be knowledgeable on
Yeah.
the HIV.
So when my dad told me that, I kind of started to realize, like, parents are afraid. They want the best for their kids.
100%.
They want their
She'll
kids
preach
to
that.
have everything they had and more, right?
That's what
A
I always
marriage,
say.
children, especially my mom and dad are still madly in love.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to think they have great kids. So they want that for me.
They
And-
do.
Thank you. And, a lot of gay couples, it's different having kids. You go through surrogacy, adoption.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. So
I'm so glad everyone was so receptive to it. I mean, I'm not surprised. I feel like you've always surrounded yourself with really great people. So,
yeah.
I mean, I'm happy that I'm like annoyed that it took like so long for you to have to feel like you can come out. But I mean, you did it when you thought it was right. And
Because
that's good.
I also felt like, not that I knew, but you kind of know as a parent. Like, you remember when we discussed this when I saw you on the street? Remember when you came over and Dani wanted to play basketball and you were insisting on playing dolls?
Yes.
And-
Period.
Right. And that was it. It was just like,
Did we end up playing with dolls?
I
I
don't-
remember.
that
I
I don't
remember
know.
not wanting to play basketball.
yeah.
I think we probably played with dolls then because I'm a people pleaser. And if you wanted to play with dolls, we were playing with motherfucking dolls.
Yeah.
And I think
So-
I'm still a people pleaser, but I'm trying not to be.
I'm trying to be less the people pleaser
Yeah.
too. But it's work. It's work.
Okay.
So now you're married. You're in a
Married.
happy relationship. How did
Very
you meet
happy
your husband?
relationship.
I feel like you've been married for like years.
I have. So I got married 2.5 years ago.
Crazy.
To a
Um,
doctor.
to a doctor.
Oh my
Yes.
God, literally like a parent's dream.
To a very wonderful doctor.
Oh, what kind of doctor is he?
Ciro is an anesthesiologist.
Cool.
Oh,
my
I
God.
love getting put under.
Same. It's like the best.
Like, I don't like
fucking-
surgery, but I would like be
I've
doing
had
those
surgery.
drugs every night
I've
to
been
go to
put
s-
under.
I
I've been
love
put
it.
under
Isn't that
too.
the
My
best?
boobs were uneven. Do you remember that?
That your boobs were uneven?
Yeah. Do you know
I don't know
that?
if you ever showed me them.
Oh, I could show you them after here. Well, now
Okay.
they're good. But like, I love surgery.
Yeah.
And I would go under. I
Yeah.
would love for your
The
husband to put me
anesthesia is
under.
great.
Yeah.
Like,
So you met your husband. How did you meet him?
So my friend Eric invited me to a party at Brooklyn Mirage.
Love. Wow.
Yes.
Love a romantic hit off at Mirage.
I know, an in-person meeting too is pretty hard to find. 'Cause
Yeah,
I
it really
definitely did a
is.
lot of online dating, and that's great too. But
It's totally.
And he was already
Brooklyn
out,
Mirage is
obviously.
a concert venue. If
Okay.
you just-
oh, Ciro was out. Yeah, we met when I was 22 years old, and I was working at Intermix. I got the text from my friend Eric inviting me to the party. I wasn't sure if I should go. I was talking to my friend Zoe on the floor. She's like, "You have to go." I'm like, "It starts so close to like when we're gonna be done with work." She's like, "Come to my house. I'll give you an outfit. I'll even go with you." I was like,
Aw,
"Zoe, this
you
is-
always have great friends.
Yeah.
It's so
I
nice.
really do."
yeah.
And she was like, "I'll come with you." And I said, "Zoe, it's going to be a really gay space." She's like, "Caesar, I grew up like around gay people. I have so many gay friends."
You're like, where'd you grow
I've
up?
been to
And why
these
wasn't I
parties.
growing up there?
I know. So Zoe comes with me to the party. We meet Ciro on the dance floor. I dance with
Dance
him
floor
a little
makeout?
bit. We had a dance floor makeout. But then I was at this party that was like 90% guys. So I said to Ciro, "Look, I'm here with Zoe. I don't want to, leave her, your friends, just dancing alone. Even though Zoe was instantly dancing with like 2 other gay guys.
Yeah,
and having the
she
time
was
of her
fine.
life.
Yeah,
She was fine.
You would be fine too.
Yeah.
But we came together. I feel like even if you're with a girlfriend and you go out, you meet a guy, you're like, I'm with
you
my
still want to
girlfriend,
make sure your friend is okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So then I put my number in Ciro's phone. I text myself something flirtatious saying, this is from Ciro, the handsome guy you met on the dance floor, thinking he'll see that the next day. He did see it the next day. He texted me. We had a coffee date right before I went to Intermix that week because he told me he was just getting off work. And I was like, where is he getting off work? He came in his scrubs, which I thought was really hot.
Hot.
I know, right?
It's like a man coming in a suit. It's like,
he knew what he was doing.
he knew what he was doing.
Then he came to a writers event I was hosting at NYU with Wikipedia for Women's History Month.
Cool.
And he brought his computer and started typing. And he met Giuliano Priori, my prom date. He met my friend.
Prom date.
Yes, we just talked about that. He met my friend Thomas. He met a lot of my friends in the first 20 minutes of that date. So that doesn't normally happen on a second date.
Yeah, no.
We started dating quickly. There was definitely a roller coaster of speed bumps that happens dating anywhere, especially dating in New York.
Yes.
I'm sure you know that too.
Oh, yeah.
But we've fostered a beautiful relationship. We lived in the city together for a while when he was in residency. Ciro helped me start my own styling company.
Aw, that's awesome.
Yeah, he was my first employee and still is my number 1 employee. A couple other friends work with me too. But he's always been my biggest cheerleader. And that was the largest thing, making me realize whatever we were going through, I could get through. This was my partner and is my partner.
That's great.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yes.
I would love
And
to
is
meet
he
him
like
one day.
you? Because you're kind of calm and kind and...
Ciro's a Gemini and I'm a Leo. We're super similar in a lot of ways. We're both the middle male child of 2 sisters of Italian families from New York. We're both gay. I mean, Cesare and Ciro, it's pretty unique. There's a lot of parallels, but our personalities complement each other, I'd say. There's those things that we used to go head to head with, but there's been a lot of therapy and spiritual guides and help from our friends and sisters that have made us really appreciate all those differences.
That's great.
I love that.
Yeah.
So what is it like now being a married man as compared to being a gay single man? How has that been a transition? And how is it, have you felt accepted? Have you felt, it's more normalized now? What has that been like?
I would say, I imagine it's difficult for anyone, heterosexual, homosexual, pansexual. But in my personal experience, I didn't see a script that was written for me. Right. I had my parents as role models and they're great, but I didn't have any gay couples that I knew.
Right.
Or gay couples, that have kids or whatever. So I kind of feel like I was learning how to write the story with my husband. Ciro
kind of nice though, no?
Yeah.
It's kind of nice that we get to write the rules.
So this was your first serious relationship?
No.
Oh, no. Okay.
No, I had a few serious relationships in college.
All right, because you met him when you were 22.
Yeah.
Okay, so you had a few years. Okay.
And came out at 18 and a half, I'd say.
18 and a half?
There were some 3, 6 month, 2-year relationships in there that I thought were pretty special. Okay, so I guess we're jumping around a bit.
No, please, this is what we do on a podcast.
Good. Okay. But my husband and I are open.
See that you mentioned that to me, but I'm old. What do I know?
Yes.
Open to what?
So when I'm talking about writing
other
the script,
people.
open to other people. We are, I guess, figuring out exactly what we are because we're new into the marriage.
Yeah.
But polyamorous is what we believe we are. That means we have.
I was gonna say, define it for
the old lady.
The old lady in the corner.
So we're not just sleeping with other people, I'd say, to put it bluntly. We have romantic relationships with other people.
But you both have to decide on the same person? Or if
that's different for every couple. So that was the difficult part, which we were kind of learning. In the beginning, I thought, okay, it'd be easier if everyone got along, right? But the challenging thing is you can't really make 2 people feel things. If that connection or spark isn't there between them, they can become, I guess, family or friends in certain ways. But my romantic relationships stayed my romantic relationships. And some of them developed into like really strong relationships with Ciro. And then Ciro's romantic relationships were his.
So wait, I guess I don't fully understand it
And
either.
it's always with men. You never throw a girl in the mix just for shits and giggles. Because you have so many great girlfriends. And
Yeah.
I follow you on Instagram. They're all gorgeous.
Thank you.
And you're so hot, it's like a little scary.
I love
And that's why I don't like.
so hot. Like I know what your body looks like
Yeah,
under these
it's, like,
clothes.
crazy.
Crazy.
Thank you. So I'm blushing. Yeah, I'm a pretty sexual person.
No.
Well, that's what Dani is too.
Yeah.
You also-
Mom, exposed.
I know. Well, hey, that's what I've learned from hearing your podcast.
Yes. Yes.
It's pretty cool. We didn't really ever talk about that.
Well,
stuff
no,
in high
I
school.
also don't even think I really knew. Sorry, Dad, but like I don't even think I really knew that I was like a sexual person in high school. I mean, I was doing all the things that like you do in high school, but like I think I was just like quote unquote normal with like had a boyfriend, like then like lost my virginity, like nothing like crazy. I wasn't a whore,
Yeah.
but thanks for calling me out, Mom. You were a slut too, if we're gonna call things out. But okay, I guess I didn't really understand what polyamorous was too. So I know like poly and like monogamous obviously are opposites, but you have separate relationships from your husband romantically, not just sleeping.
Yes.
And so does your husband. But
No, I thought it meant that you and your husband have
Danny's on
relationships with
He's
other
not-
people.
yes, but it doesn't have
Together.
to be, it's not him and his husband. Like, it's not like if me and Caesar were married and I'm a man, we're gay. It's not like you're a man too. This is a horrible. Okay.
Let me
us
say,
two.
I could date Dani right now. And
Wait.
Ciro isn't necessarily going to be
Ciro doesn't
dating
have to
Dani
date me.
too.
Oh,
I
It's
mean-
not, yeah.
but you would have sex with Dani and Ciro wouldn't be upset?
You know, the
How do you not get jealous?
That was my main question too.
I believe you get jealous in relationships even when they're monogamous. I mean, people have those little work relationships, you know, that they flirt with, colleagues, maybe. I mean, I did. I don't know if that's everyone. Or they have friends and there's some sort of physical attraction there. And I believe like in your space too, like boyfriends probably get jealous of, right? Other male friends.
I literally see my boyfriend looking at a girl on Instagram. Like, who the God's name is that?
Whether he's acting on it or not, the jealousy is there. And for
Right.
me, someone who is pretty comfortable sexually, I've thought, well, Ciro's been with people before me. What's the difference now? Like,
But my question is like I understand more. It's not understand's not the
there's
right
jealousy
word.
there.
Right. But like, I think the jealousy would come not so much from the sleeping with someone else, because I think like at that point, like sex is sex. If there's no romantic, it's fine. I think
For
where
sure.
the jealousy comes from is like when you have that emotional connection with someone else. At some point, like I always say like emotional cheating is sometimes worse than physical cheating.
Yeah. Dani, you're definitely onto it right now.
I'm so modern.
So you're expressing like kind of some things that Ciro experiences.
Right.
The jealousy of the romance. And I was experiencing more of the jealousy of the sexual connections. I think that jealousy all just comes from fear. You know, with the sexual relationships, there can be things like STIs that come up. I mean, there could just be amazing sex that maybe the person wants to go with them and not you, right? People
Right.
cheat or people leave, and those things are complicated. I also think that the romantic relationships, their experience is jealous. You can experience jealousy as well.
Yeah.
I definitely get jealous if Ciro goes on a date.
So you know he's physically leaving for a date, and say you know this guy's like super, super hot and nice.
Yeah.
But he
I mean,
also
you're
knows
super
he's
hot
super
and
hot and nice.
I know, but still, like,
My follow-up question to that. Sorry, I have so many questions. And
I
if
know.
you don't want to answer anything, it's so fine. But were you in your previous relationships, were you open also, or is this new to you?
So a lot of my previous relationships ended with infidelity,
Okay.
either on my end or my partner's end.
Okay.
And sometimes just from like a lack of a sexual connection. You know,
Right.
you start dating someone and it's just not there anymore. And even without
well, you have
infidelity.
to keep it there, just like you have to keep it with a.
Well, sometimes you can't.
Sometimes you can't.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't. And where are we at?
Your relationship, I asked if you, what the fuck did I ask?
Oh, in my other previous
Were you
relationships.
open in other relationships? And you
Yes.
said no,
So-
because it came from infidelity.
Some relationships ended because of infidelity.
Right.
Some I tried to stay with the person and then that kept happening. So once I was with Ciro and in the beginning when we were dating, we both flirted with other guys. Maybe there was a casual makeout here and there. There wasn't necessarily any cheating. I felt like a makeout was cheating at the time. And again, I think that came from the fear of not wanting to lose this person I was falling in love with. But then for me, I realized that I loved Ciro so much that I was going to try to fight the jealousy and going to try to preserve the relationship and not have us just leave each other because we feel something for someone else. Like maybe there doesn't need to be that shame around those feelings.
Yeah.
We don't like the saying, I only have eyes for one person. Maybe some people believe that.
Right.
I don't believe that. You know, I look at.
But one day, it's in a decade from now, it just might be the two of you. I mean, you could always pivot.
It might just be, but like if Shawn Mendes hits on me at a bar, like, you know, it's Shawn Mendes.
It's Shawn Mendes.
That's probably gonna happen.
I don't. It's sad to hear that you feel like there's shame around it. I wonder if like the words, and totally correct me, obviously, but I feel like maybe the words aren't even shame. It's just like a lack of understanding. Like even sitting here myself, like I know what polyamorous is. You obviously don't. Just like different generations, which is fine, but like I didn't know to like the full degree. And I'm aware that, you know, being in an open relationship is very common for gay men, like so new to me, but I'm curious, like, is it shame or is it just like a lack of awareness?
I think that there's a bit of shame and a stigma around it. I mean, let's look at like Hugh Hefner. Everyone thought that's the first example I could think of. Like,
weren't you him for Halloween like a million years?
Yes. Yeah. Maybe I always knew. Honestly, I think I was him.
Wait, why
I was
do
him for
I
Halloween in middle school. How do you remember that?
You're like so tall and lanky, and like I remember you with like the pipe and
like, the robe.
And the robe,
Wow, Dani,
I have a wicked
I don't need
memory.
ketamine therapy. I needed you.
Yeah.
It was always there.
How do you remember that?
I don't know. I just remember it. We were friends. Like I remember.
Yeah.
I remember what you wore.
So,
granted, I have no idea what I was for in high school for Halloween, but I remember.
But Janice, there was a stigma around that, right? Like a man with 3 women that he's in a relationship with on a TV show, living in his house. People thought like he's just a player. Like maybe he really loved these women. I don't know. I don't know him, but it seemed like they all really loved each other. I was a huge fan of the show. When I moved out to New Jersey, we met a family, and there are 4 adult men. They are polyamorous. They
live together?
Yeah, they live together. They are
exhausting.
Maybe they need to have a reality TV show so you could spread the word and then we all know what's going on.
Amazing idea.
We were in the talks of that.
Yeah, I could see like
I'm watching that.
Yeah.
This is the first time I feel like I've ever come out as being polyamorous, which I told Dani I was really excited to talk about.
So glad you're doing it here.
Because I feel like people might look at mine and Ciro's relationship and think that it's not as strong because of that. Like everyone has their challenges no matter what they are, right? In a marriage, in even just dating. This is something that we've chosen to add into the mix. Like jealousy is definitely real.
Yeah.
But there's
are there
also
rules around it?
There are rules around it.
But wait, who brought it up though? Like
we have so many questions.
Like you just newly get married and you kind of like, I kind of want to like hook up.
It was
with the guy
before we got married.
Oh, it was before. Oh, so you
that's a good thing to align on before you get married. Yeah, I'm happy you guys did that.
And we're still figuring it out.
Right.
But we both essentially had feelings for other people, like more than just sexual attraction, which is the reason that this was brought up. We realized like there was love for friends and exes, and we wanted to explore that. And it felt like the relationship was falling apart. And if we didn't explore that, we were gonna leave. Like
it's kind of like having your cake and eating it too.
Definition of that. But what if?
But you can't just have your cake and eat it too. Like you
have to still dedicate yourself. You
have to bake the cake with the partner. You know, like you want red velvet, but they decide how much frosting and what all the boundaries are.
What if you like? I understand when you're saying that you guys still wanted to explore those relationships, whether it's with new people, exes. But what if like there is a stronger feeling for someone? Like what if the other person, the third party, let's call it, is like wants to date you? Like have you had a situation like that?
Yeah, that has happened. I mean, I've gotten so far as boyfriends and
while you're married.
Yeah. Guest of my wedding.
Ciro's just home tending to the pets.
I mean,
your 16 animals.
We have busy lives too. Yeah. We have family members and friends, and we are very strong, like independent,
right,
and together. And I think that's really important. That's something that opening your relationship kind of makes you do, you know?
Yeah.
It's not dinner every night together. It's dinner a lot together, but I think that that's really healthy to not lose your sense of self. Like how do you go from dating and exploring these things to being engaged and then you just close it off? I mean, for me, like the love was still there with other people, and yeah.
Sounds like the most honestly healthiest thing I've ever heard. Like we talk about obviously dating all the time, and we always say how like you have to have your sense of self when you're in a relationship, but referring to like keep your friends, find time for yourself,
be
find time for your family,
independent.
be independent. Don't rely on your partner for bringing you happiness, plans, everything in your life. But this is like I love it. It's like a whole new perspective where like you're still keeping the things that you were valuing and really cared about romantically, sexually prior to being with your husband. And it seems like he's on the same page. So that sounds freaking healthy to me, if you ask me.
Also, like, I mean, is marriage forever? 50% of marriages end in divorce.
That's such a sad statistic, but like it's true.
Not everyone dies at the same time. So I remember when my grandma lost my grandpa, she lived for 8 years without him, and she was definitely lonely.
Yeah.
You lose that romantic connection, but it's more than just romantic. It's a life partner. They help you do the dishes. I mean, they help you
Not in
financially.
my house.
Really? Maybe you open it up. I don't know. I'm just kidding. I think, yeah.
Do you hear of a lot of like polyamorous relationships with like straight people? Or do you think it's more gay?
Yes, I do.
You do?
Yeah. My barber told me that he was in a relationship with a man and a woman.
I just like, I mean, I have no shame around it. I find it, I'm honestly just like super curious about it. But like personally, I'm like, it sounds like a lot to like manage in a way. Not manage because you're just living your life, which is incredible. But like, do you get overwhelmed with like dating someone and obviously like tending to your marriage, but also tending to your needs, tending to your 14,000 pets, like, and then your job? Like, do you find it to be a little overwhelming at times? And are there times where you're just like, maybe I just focus on one thing?
It's hard. I mean, it can definitely get overwhelming.
Yeah.
I think it can with maybe just one partner, because I've experienced that too in monogamous relationships.
Yeah.
I always kind of relate it to like having two sisters, like Sydney and Sierra. My parents always told me growing up, like, you don't love one of your sisters more than the other. You love them both equally. And I truly do love them both equally. And I give them equal of my time, attention. Those relationships are really hard too to maintain. Even just friendships are really hard to maintain.
Yeah, I always say it's work.
Some of my girlfriends I talk to for hours out of the day. I mean, and there's not even that many hours in the day.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
So all those relationships are hard. These relationships, I don't know if they're necessarily stronger. I don't know if like a boyfriend or a husband to me is stronger than a friend or a sister or a mom or a dad. So I think I'm really good at managing a lot of relationships.
I think you have to be if you're.
I had 16 bridesmaids. Like,
that's so crazy.
and
that's
I think I'm a lot of their best friends.
Yeah.
So
that's really special.
yeah.
But wait, I have one question.
No, ask away.
But say you guys are just hanging out on your sofa.
Yeah.
And you see Ciro very busy on the phone.
She likes very detailed questions.
Are you kind of like, oh, what are you doing? What do you got? You know what I mean? What do you got
The detailed
going
questions are good.
Yeah. But obviously, like, don't answer anything you don't feel comfortable answering.
I'm very comfortable.
Okay, cool.
Thank you guys. Yeah, there's some jealousy there, but it's the simple conversation of, can you put your phone away now? And can we watch this movie, or can we get back to what we're talking about? Or do you need your own time right now? Do you want to go in? We have our own bedrooms too. Do you want to go?
That I want to talk about. That's a new thing apparently.
Yeah, and our own bathrooms. The bathrooms is a must.
But that's important.
The bedrooms is
the
a true
bathroom
luxury.
is great.
Yeah.
And the bedroom too. So if you just want to go, does he snore?
No, I'm the snorer.
I snore.
But
you actually play a musical with your snores.
Ciro goes to bed earlier than me. I mean, he wakes up earlier than I do for the most part to go into the hospital. So what if I don't want to go to bed yet? You know, then I'm going to come in and wake him up on my phone, and I have my own room. And then what if my mom and dad came and stayed with me in the city? You know, then, okay, you take my room. I sleep with you, Ciro. Like, we sleep together probably 90% of the week. But we have our own rooms.
Mm-hmm.
And
whose room's nicer?
Yours.
Ciro's.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Mine was nicer in our house, but when we moved to the city, I was like, it's your turn.
Oh, that's
Okay.
nice.
Plus, we sleep together.
So you're basically right.
Yeah.
Do you like do you bring people back to your place?
And yes, and that's why the separate bedrooms is like a total must.
Right. But what does he like come
Is he
home?
sleeping or
no,
you're
my question, my turn. Is like what if you're getting
Janice
with
asked the
some
question too.
what
that
was
I'll
your
go back
question?
to, but no, finish yours.
What if you're hooking up with someone and he comes home? Or vice versa?
I would have told him first before someone was in our house.
Oh,
I would
okay.
text him. Yeah.
So it's all very respectful
and
and
if Ciro's
Yeah,
asleep
it's
and he's in his room, like I could bring someone home. I mean,
Oh my God. I like
it's not a revolving door.
Yeah, no, I don't think like you're having dinner and then like someone's. I don't think it's like that. But like going back to my point around like I feel like there has to be some rules around it. Like what are some rules you guys have aligned on to make it so as healthy as it is?
As soon as we've hooked up with someone, like let's say it's even not in our apartment, when you find the right time to tell the other person, you should tell them as soon as you can before we sleep together. That's just a rule.
Before you sleep with the other person.
Before Ciro and I sleep together.
Oh, you have to tell. Yeah.
So like courtesy.
Courtesy, yeah.
Like I want to know.
What's the right time though?
Good follow-up question.
Follow-up question.
No, but I always think of like when to tell dad that, we had a blackout in a store or whatever, but I never know the right time.
Blackout in a store means when we literally go in for a store for 20 minutes and end up spending a lot of money.
Thousands.
And we go, he goes, what happened? We go, we blacked out. So that's what she's asking me. It was like,
So
when's the right time?
sometimes you can also like tell them before the blackout if you see it coming in like, hey, I'm at the store. It's looking really good. Like, there might be a blackout. You know what I mean? And that definitely happens too. And also like you kind of expect certain things. Like if one of us is going to, let's say, a party and we're going with a friend and we think that they're wingmanning each other. Like, yeah, I'm going to know what's happening. Or if you say you're going out on a date with this person who you already have a sexual relationship with, then you can kind of expect that. But if it's something new, I think it's really just reading the other person. We communicate a lot,
Yeah, I feel like you guys take communication to like the most exceptional
You have to have
level
great
ever
communication.
because like you guys have agreed to this and
it makes so many other things easier, honestly, too. Like when is the right time to give anyone bad news? Like I'm not going to tell Ciro something if he's at work and he's in the OR. Like that's just wrong,
Yeah.
He's also not going to tell me if I'm on an appointment and I'm styling someone because you want to preserve their energy and they're working. You also don't want to tell them like if they've just had a really bad day. You can find a way to have the conversation.
But the jealousy isn't exhausting because I've been in relationships where they were monogamous at one point, but like it was
you were monogamous.
Yeah, like I thought it was a monogamous relationship, but
yeah.
And there was a point where I was always very jealous in my old relationships for a very good reason. Clearly, he was excessively cheating on me, but like I remember I was so exhausted from like worrying that he was doing things when I didn't even know, but like we know.
First off, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Happened.
We're over it. It was
That's
8 years
happened
ago. Yeah, it's horrible.
Me too, and it's terrible. But you definitely probably learned from it and grew
Totally.
up, right?
It's a learning experience.
Yeah.
So what if you took that and rewrote the script? What if the jealousy wasn't there? Because what if there was more communication? What if you knew that
zero? Yeah.
I don't know what his name was, but let's say Aaron wanted to explore something with someone else. What if he could talk to you about that? What if he could use protection? What if you could avoid the jealousy a little bit?
Well, if that was the case and he said something to me, I probably wouldn't have dated him because I'm someone who I personally would like, I'm a monogamous girl. Like I want a monogamous relationship. But I think, even having that conversation would have spared me 2 years of the relationship. If he said like, I am not interested in just being with one person, like I can't date you, I would have been upset, but I probably would have been really upset at the time, but it would have spared me the 2 years and the heartbreak of finding out later on.
And it would have given you the decision to leave, right?
Exactly.
Because you were in a relationship and things were going on that you didn't know about. And that's not right. But if people could talk about these things, it could be a much more mature, ending to your story.
Right.
Like, hey, Dani, I love you. I'm really attracted to you, but I have feelings for other people too.
Right.
And I want to explore them. And then you say, hey, great. That's not the relationship I want right now.
Yes.
Let's take a break, explore them, do what you want. Maybe we'll come back. Or if you don't know that it's me now and I need to know that, then it's over.
There's a big
But-
lesson around that too. Because even like when whether like you're gay or straight, like going into dating in the first few dates where when someone says, oh, I'm not looking for something serious, like that's respectable. Or it's better to do it then versus like you're 6 dates in, someone's starting to like each other and they go, oh, I don't want something serious. Like, why don't you just kind of say it and have that communication up front versus, I guess, wasting someone's time, even though I don't like to say
No,
anything's a
everything's
waste
an
of time.
experience, though.
Right.
Or
but
investing too much time.
right.
Not wasting.
Investing. Right. But I love that word. Nice job, Mom. But I think it's a huge point around like communication, which we always talk about is, right, whether it's like you want to be with other people or that's not what you're interested, like having those conversations up front will just set you up for success.
Yeah.
Period. Love
And
it.
you want kids?
I think so. I'd always wanted kids. The openness is something that I'm wondering how that would look.
That's what I was thinking.
That was
That
my
might be
thinking,
like a
too.
little complicated.
It would definitely be complicated.
What does your husband want?
Does he want kids?
Yeah, he wants kids. But then again, we're both like, kids are expensive and
Yeah.
difficult. And
Right.
we don't know where the world's going. So do
You're
we want to
also
have
like
kids into
so
it?
young still.
Right.
I feel
We're
like
really
you don't
young.
have to think
You have
about that
time.
right now.
Yeah.
Is your husband older than you?
Ciro's a few years older than me.
Okay.
4 years older than me. Yeah.
Good age. I know you just said this is kind of like one of your first times talking about this. So one, we're so grateful you're doing it here.
Thanks,
Are
guys.
you? I feel like you've obviously have told people prior to this about your relationship.
Oh.
How do you respond to people's, because this is helpful for people who are listening, probably going through the same thing in their relationship and maybe feeling that shame. How would you how have you responded to any like shame or question or confusion around it?
That's a great question.
I ask good questions. I do have a podcast.
So no one can tell you how your relationship should look.
Amen.
And every decision you make can be changed, and it's a continuing conversation with your partner. So these things are scary, but it's safe to explore. I just think like what you said, the communication is really the most important thing. So communicating with your partner and your support system, your close friends that you know can help you and that you can lean on, through that learning curve. If it's something that's new to someone. If you just can't handle jealousy at all, then maybe it's not for you.
Yeah.
But I think jealousy is something that you kind of have to get over. Like at some point in monogamous relationship, polyamorous relationship, you have to trust that your partner wants to be your partner, right? And fall into that trust. And I think falling into that trust and leading with love and honesty is what can preserve any relationship.
Right? No. You kind of have everything good going on.
I know.
And you're living the life, the authentic life that
Yeah.
you want to live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
and
if you would have brought up the polyamorous in high school, nobody would have understood.
I wouldn't have understood.
Yeah.
that would it's different. I think also different time, but also it's like you're an adult now. You were
But
so young.
Let's
then.
take The Bachelor, right, guys? Like towards the end of the season.
They should do a gay bachelor.
Well, they totally should.
They absolutely should.
You should do reality TV.
Yes.
It's a discussion right now. But
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's take The Bachelor, though. Towards the end of the season, aren't they in love with more than one person? Don't they say that? They're considering proposing to 2 people. Like they're falling in love with 2 people.
Yeah.
And they're ending one of those relationships because you have to make the choice. Like,
Yeah.
why do you have to make the choice?
Right. They should.
Could you imagine? That would be so like honestly amazing if they were like, I want to marry both of them, and imagine like both people were like, yes, let's do
Right.
it.
And then the girls are like best friends.
Yeah.
Honestly, kind of sick.
I mean, yeah, people maintain relationships with their like spouses after they get a divorce, right?
Right.
And they can co-parent together and then they have other partners. Like maybe those relationships could have continued.
Yeah.
Poor guy taking care of 2 wives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, talk about it being expensive.
Yeah.
That's expensive. I guess
Yeah.
it's the same though as having like a wife and a daughter. So feel you, Dad.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I don't feel you, but apologize for you. We were already at over the hour, which is crazy. Mom, any final questions?
No, do you want to end it with your questions?
No, I don't have those. We stopped doing that.
Okay.
But I want you to like end with like a note that you feel really like, comfortable or confident
Or
sharing.
advice for
Or
people.
advice. That was what I was gonna say.
Advice for people.
Yeah. So what would you say is a piece of advice, for people who are thinking about coming out or talking to their partner about not being in a monogamous relationship? What is something you wish you heard back in the day? Let it marinate.
Okay.
So cute.
He's so cute.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I had some of the experiences that you had too, Dani. I experienced infidelity and cheating, whether it be me who did it or my exes who did it. And a lot of my girlfriends are so ride or die for me, and they just want to protect me, that they were like, that happened, it's over.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing with my ex's friends. They're like, Caesar did this. It was maybe a drunken mistake. It's over. Like, maybe telling your friend that could be ending their relationship for them, because they love you and they value you. So maybe hold a little bit more grace and space for your friends and say, like, well, how does it feel for you? Is it something you want to communicate with?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe your friend could even talk to your partner and like try to bring the relationship back together. That's why mine and Ciro's relationship has been successful. We have so many people in our life that are fighting for us and pushing us back together.
On top of you guys wanting to desperately be together too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been a victim of this too. Like, if my girlfriends, boyfriends have cheated on them, I'm like, that's it. It's over.
Yeah.
Even as someone who's open in a relationship has experienced infidelity, because I love
I'd be
them.
like, your vote doesn't count.
Yeah.
But, it's not. People make mistakes, and everyone's figuring out what they want. So
Yeah.
have grace with yourself and the people around you. Yeah.
That's
Love.
good. Good advice.
Love.
Thanks, guys.
No, we literally could talk forever, but we only have an hour and it's 6:05, so I'm upset. But thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing with us. I know it's even probably to this day, it's probably not the easiest thing to do, or maybe it is, you tell me, but we appreciate you doing it here.
Thank
we would
you.
love to have you and your husband back on together. Like, that would
For
be
sure.
a fun little conversation. But
Yes.
where can people find you on social media to follow along all the fabulous things you're doing and the reality television show that we're suddenly going to produce?
Maybe. You can find me on Instagram. It's Caesar Palotta. Dani can tag it in the
Yes,
video.
we will tag you and everything.
And yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
No,
Thank you.
this was
You're
so
always
fun.
welcome.
Yeah, truly, we're going to have you again.
Yeah, thank you for holding the space for these conversations.
Of course.
Janice, I always knew, even as a kid, that you really were very non-judgmental.
Oh, thank
Aw,
you.
She's so nice.
Yeah, and that's why I feel like you and your husband have made such a beautiful, kind daughter. And thank you,
Yeah.
Dani, for always being someone who, maybe if we didn't talk about me being gay in high school, just being so sweet about it, and
Of
for holding the
course.
space for me to talk about this today.
Of course,
great.
of course.
You're the best.
Oh, I'm gonna
Thank you,
cry.
guys.
Are
Thank you.
crying?
Yeah, a little.
Love you so much. Thank you so
You have
much
a cool
for
mom,
being
Dani.
here. I know. That's why
Yeah.
I'm here with her. I know she's cool. And everyone always likes her a little bit more than they like me. So
Not
it
really.
works.
You're
No,
still
really.
the star.
No, I'm
You're
not.
so good in front of the mic.
Oh my God, I'm obsessed with you.
Yeah,
Obsessed with
Dani,
this.
you're really good at this. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
to
It's
both of
fun.
you.
Thank you.
I mean, she
welcome.
puts in work, let me tell you. But let me wrap this up. Like, subscribe, 5 stars, all those good things. And we will see you next week.